Well, I think to start with, it's been brought back a lot of memories. I was here in 2010 for the Commonwealth Games in Delhi. So it was nice revisiting the pool that the Commonwealth Games was at. So that brought back a lot of very good memories. At that competition back in 2010, I think I had about 5 or 6 swimmers on the Australian team. So it was lovely to come back here and see the pool and the facility. Nothing too much has changed. That was very nice, but also I think going out to all the facilities and having a look at the young Indian swimmers that you've got in your programs. I think it's very encouraging to see the numbers of athletes that you've got in your programs. Obviously I know that they're trying to make the standard a little bit better. There's a lot of work being done behind the scenes, so I'm looking forward to seeing the progress of India over the next 8 to 10 years. I think the biggest highlight was the Taj Mahal. That was on the first day I was here. That was a dream of mine to go and visit that. We weren't allowed to go to it in 2010. So that was the first thing that I did. Then I went to Trivandrum. And that was really good down there to have a look at the facility. Obviously a very tropical environment. Probably a lot more like home, like on the Gold Coast where I'm from. There's a lot of palm trees everywhere. So it was lovely going down to that facility and to see the numbers of athletes that they've got in their programs down there. I was really impressed to see just the depth of people that you had swimming in the programs. That was very nice. Then on to Bengaluru for the coaches conference that we had on the Sunday. We had about 40 coaches in attendance. Around about 19 or 20 of those were students doing their diploma. They were there for the year, so it was lovely to meet them. Very, very enthusiastic group of coaches. They were there to greet me as soon as I walked in through the front door. It was very nice to see some happy, smiling faces, and good to see some young people willing to take on the coaching, so that was really nice. And there were quite a few established coaches there as well. A number of national team coaches, amongst them was Pradeep. It was great to see him again. I've seen him quite a lot at various international competitions, and as well Nihar. I haven't seen Nihar for quite some time, so it was nice catching up with him again. And Partha has been a great host with VJ, and also Ian from Glenmark have done a very good job of making me feel at home. Then we flew to Delhi, back to Delhi here, and I've been here for the last 3 or 4 days working with the Glenmark Foundation athletes here at the pool. Well, I've just had that relationship with Glenmark, for the last 3 or 4 years, and they asked me to come across and have a look at their centres. They asked me maybe 8 to 10 months ago, and I said, look, I really can't do much until Paris is over. So when Paris got completed, my diary, my itinerary was a little bit more open. So I've been doing a fair bit of touring in the last few months. I've been to the US Coaches Conference over in Orlando in Florida. Went to the Canadian Coaches Association clinic. I was over there for about 3 weeks. And then right on the back of that, I went to the Spanish Coaches Association conference. So I've been very, very busy travelling. After the Spanish Coaches Conference, I came back to Australia for about 3 weeks. And then I've since come over to India to tour around various destinations here. So it was really, I guess, just that relationship with Glenmark. Glenmark asking me to come, and I said I would, but just the timing had to be right. I think to me it's a lot to do with belief, like the athletes and the coaches and the federation and all the people that are involved believing that Indian athletes can be great. Like, you've only got to look at cricket. Cricket, India are #1 in the world. They're always around that #1 status. Very good athletes. There's no reason, why India or Indian people can't be great athletes. I'm not sure if Kaylee McKeown was playing with me or not, but she actually told me that she's got a bit of Indian blood in her. I think her father's grandfather was part Indian. So I believe she's got some Indian ancestry. So it's nice, I think, for the kids knowing that. I did tell them that this morning. So it's nice for the kids to know that someone who's up winning gold medals at the Olympic Games has Indian blood flowing through her. So I think that's the believability piece. To me, having that belief is the most important thing. Like, we're wasting our time working with any athlete if they don't believe. So, I think the coaches, the federation, the athletes themselves have to have that belief in themselves. If you spoke to any of the great Indian cricket players, they've got undenying belief in themselves as athletes, and that's why they're very good. It's the same thing with any sport. You've got to have that belief first. Once that belief is there, it's putting the training in, getting themselves to the right levels. You know, Indian swimmers aren't going to all of a sudden start medaling at Olympic Games next week, right? It's a work in progress, but it all starts with that belief piece. I think getting people like myself who have had that international experience, coming over and working with, working with the coaches and working with the swimmers, and trying to show them a way a little bit. I think, if you show them the way, that gives them the pathway to show them what's possible. So I think just the experience that coaches with that international experience can bring, I think, really helps in helping educate both the coaches and the swimmers. I think until you get that success, it's hard for the athletes to believe. I think as soon as you get breakthroughs, I think that's when en masse India will start to move. We saw it in Singapore. Singapore was doing a very mediocre job. Joseph Schooling came through and won an Olympic gold medal, and all of a sudden the believability amongst the Singaporean nation has got a lot stronger since Joseph Schooling has performed well. And I think the same thing will happen with India. If you can get 2, 3 or 4 or 5 swimmers, getting through to finals at Asian Games, getting through to medals at Asian Games, and the next preparation trying to get to Olympics, more swimmers to the Olympics, then maybe by Brisbane 2032 having swimmers top 16 at the Olympics, and then 2036 after Brisbane you might have people making finals, and then maybe the next one after that getting people on the podium. It can't happen in the click of the fingers. It takes a lot of hard work and a lot of time, and I think you're right. I think the coaching piece of the puzzle is a very, very important part. My belief is there's great swimmers in every nation in the world. You've only got to look at the Olympic Games. Back in 1988, a swimmer from Suriname, Anthony Nesty, won a gold medal at the Olympics, a small little island in Africa. Swimmers from Egypt, not swimming countries, are getting up and winning medals. Hafnui at the Olympics before last got up and won that gold medal in Tokyo from an outside lane. So there are small countries that are getting the breakthroughs, and I think it's only a matter of time if the Indian swimmers can reach the necessary levels in training and then at competitions, that we'll start to see some very good Indian swimmers performing well internationally. I think I can only do so much as a senior coach. It's really important before me, when Kaylee McKeown was a young 8-year-old and 10-year-old, the most important role of that coach is stroke development, technique. So instilling really good technique in the younger swimmers is probably the most important thing with younger swimmers. They've got to have fun, it's got to be enjoyable for them. They'll keep turning up to training if they're enjoying the training, but they've got to be learning skill and technique. And if they're doing that from a young age, when they get to coming to me when they're 18, 19, 20, 21, it makes my job so much easier when the athletes that are presenting to me with very good technique. Emma McKeon was exactly the same. Emma came to me when she was about 20 years of age. Her father was her age group coach. He spent a lot of time shaping her technique. So her technique was at a very, very high level when she came to me. And I was able to add the final touches on her in terms of her training methodology and everything else. But you can't get someone performing at that high level if they're swimming with really bad technique. With swimming, you're working in a medium that's very high resistance. Water is very high resistance. So if you're not good technically, the flaws magnified quite vividly because you're working through a very highly resistant field. So it's important in working through that highly resistant field that technique is paid attention to. It's why you see speedboats, right? The boats that move through the water really quickly are a very streamlined shape. They're very hydrodynamic. But the tugboat that moves at a very slow speed isn't. It's got a very wide front and it moves through very slowly, right? So your positioning in the water, the way you hold water, the way you move through the water is very important.